The LifeVac Podcast.
I'm Brad Hardware, and over the next 10 minutes, we're going to delve a bit deeper into LifeVac. It's an airway clearance device. I'm joined today by Matt Bannigan from LifeVac. Matt, welcome. Just tell us a bit more about what LifeVac is.
LifeVac is a non-invasive regulated airway clearance device to be used when first aid fails or can't be performed. It was invented by Arthur Lee, family friend, in 2012, and he called my father up in 2012, said, "I've invented this." I took my daughter to hospital. I heard about a child that choked on a grape. Doctors couldn't get it out. The parents were obviously devastated. So when he started looking into choking statistics in the US, one child dies every 5 days, and then he started looking at the effectiveness of current first aid choking protocol. And he said, okay, well, there's something called suction that's in advanced life support, intermediate life support, but there's nothing in basic life support for everyday people to use. So we came up with the first concept of LifeVac, and then he called my father up and said, "I've invented this, next time you're on this side of the pond, just stop by and see what you think." My father saw it, thought it was brilliant, and is noticing at work, sold his house, his pension, set up LifeVac Europe in 2014, and we saved our first life globally in Ashbury Healthcare in Wales in 2016.
So the product that you've actually got in front of you is a suction device.
Yep.
For those that can't actually see what it looks like, you can find images online. Do you want to explain how that works?
Yeah, sure. So it's got bellows that are blow molded in Ireland with exact measurements to create safe and effective suction. It's got 2 patented discs, patented one-way safety valve. So when you depress, all the pressure is exerted through the vent and the valve, not through the mask, so it can't push the thing further down. You pull back swiftly and firmly, and it dislodges the obstruction of the upper airway. And we've saved 5,893 lives so far.
So it's purely a suction device to pull whatever the blockage is out of the airway.
That's correct.
Challenges you faced so far, it's obviously not easy setting up a new company, setting up a new product, trying to get people on board with the idea. What kind of challenges have you faced?
So it took a long time in the UK to prove the efficacy of LifeVac to the MHRA in the UK, which is the regulatory body. And before June 2023, they would only allow us to help save lives in care in nursing homes and hospitals, and it couldn't be used on children in the UK until they were happy with the efficacy of LifeVac. And then they reached out to us in 2023, and we saved about 1,500 lives then. We had about 10 peer-reviewed medical publications, and they said, we're happy with the efficacy of LifeVac. We're now going to allow you to go out to the general public, and it can be used on children. Then in addition to that, during that time, around 2020, we started to come across our first Chinese counterfeits of LifeVac. It was reported to us by a mum up north, and she said, "I've purchased a LifeVac from Amazon. I've tried it out on my counter at home. I've watched a YouTube video. It's faulty. I can't push down." So we investigated it, and it wasn't a LifeVac device. We asked for a unique serial number and lot number. We presented that to the regulatory body in the UK. They did a direct comparison, and they issued an urgent government recall for all branded and non-branded counterfeits of LifeVac.
So the risks of counterfeit devices are that they're not safe and they won't save lives in the way that the actual branded,
that's correct,
regulated product would.
That's correct. Obviously, LifeVac's patented and we own intellectual property rights and stuff, but we have to meet strict quality and safety standards, and the medical evidence behind LifeVac is very vast. So some people that haven't heard about us, that they see something that resembles a LifeVac online, and they think, "Oh, that's brilliant," not knowing that there's a urgent recall against them, and they're actually very, very dangerous. They can either break apart, don't create any suction, force air down through the mask. So it's always best to research before you ever purchase something intended to save a life.
Definitely is. Choking is a risk for anyone.
Yes.
But there are going to be groups that are more at risk. Mm-hmm. Who are they?
So the highest category risk of choking is people over the age of 65. Second is children under the age of 5 years of age.
And that's purely on statistical data?
Yes, it is, yeah. So people over the age of 65, as you get older, you produce less saliva, you become frail, your muscles become weaker. You can develop something called dysphagia, which is the inability to eat and drink correctly. So they are the highest category risk of choking, which is why we work with thousands of care and nursing homes in the UK. The second is children under the age of 5, because children naturally, they learn texture by putting things in their mouth. Mm-hmm. So anything they see, they'll pick up and put in their mouth to learn the texture of it. Choking
Prevention is, key to stopping people choking in the first place. Yeah. What kind of things can be done to stop that?
There's a raft of different things. So what we say, if it's chewable, it's chokeable. With children, always prepare the food into easy biteable eatable, manageable sized pieces. Cut their food up, grapes, cut them in quarters, sausages and hot dogs, cut them down the middle and then cut them into quarters. Always supervise your children. Try not to let them run around and eat with food in their mouth at the same time. That's the prevention for children. Always take an accredited first aid course. You can't beat with what you can do with your hands straight away. And with adults, it's over the age of 65, it's just eat cautiously, chew many times before you swallow.
Don't try and shove too many things in all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've all done it before, where you're in a rush and you're eating, and I've done it plenty of times when I'm going from A to B and I'm rushing and I need to eat something really quick.
Yeah.
So it's always best to be cautious.
So there's always prevention. Sometimes the worst can happen and choking does actually occur. What do you do in that situation?
So do your first aid first, obviously. If you witness someone choking, do your abdominal thrust, do your back blows on infants under a certain age. You do chest thrusts, not abdominal thrusts. If you look at first aid statistics, abdominal thrusts and back blows in combination, they're about 70% effective, so there's huge room for improvement. If you've got someone with a disability, such as a molded wheelchair user, for example, muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy, they cannot physically receive all of first aid choking protocol, such as abdominal thrusts. So their chance of survival reduces to around 30%. So there's huge room for improvement, and that's where we step in and bridge that gap.
Because it's not requiring the kind of physical intervention as such. It's
exactly. LifeVac can be applied when someone's sitting, standing, laying down. It can also be self-applied. We've saved over 300 people that have been at home alone, or they've been on their break at work and they've had to self-apply LifeVac.
So LifeVac has kind of grown over the last 10 to 15 years.
Yes.
What would you say your goals are moving forward?
Save more lives. We average about 6 use reports a day now from all over the world. We saved our 5th life in Miller and Carter yesterday, and also become, right now we're a legal option to be used when first aid fails or can't be performed, but our long-term goal is to become a mandatory part of first aid. And that way, our lives will increase from 6 to 7 a day to hundreds a day. Right now we work with thousands of care and nursing homes, schools, nurseries, NHS, parents, but the more people that are aware, the more lives that we can save.
All comes down to education.
Exactly.
You're a local company.
Yes.
Do you want to just give a kind of idea of the scale of that company and how you operate?
Yeah, sure. So there's the 5 senior directors, including myself. We've got a 46,000 square foot facility in South Molton where we manufacture LifeVac, and we've got 23 employees. And
you've also set up the Southwest Life Saving Initiative.
Yes.
How does that work?
So predominantly, majority of people that we work with and businesses across the UK, not in the Southwest. So, if you go down the motorway and stop off at Moto Services, you'll see our wall-mounted kits beside their defibs. So we set up a life-saving initiative in the Southwest to start working with more businesses and save more lives on our front doorstep. So every month we're donating our kits to businesses and schools across the Southwest. We saved an 11-year-old girl in Bristol on Mother's Day who choked on roast potato. The mother did first aid, couldn't relieve it, used LifeVac, second application, dislodged the roast potato and saved her daughter's life. And now she's turned into woman, should I say, advocate for LifeVac in Bristol. She's trying to raise as much awareness as possible. We work with a charity in Kent called the Oliver Stieber Foundation. They lost a 9-month-old boy, Oliver, who choked to death in nursery on penne pasta, and they've had a huge impact in early years settings on food preparation. So, for example, they say it's stage, not age. So you could have 2 9-month-old children. One might have 4 teeth, the other one might not have any teeth. So they can't eat the same consistency of food. So it shouldn't be done by age, it should be done by stage. And they also donate our kits free of charge to childcare settings across the UK. They've donated over 1,800 kits in memory of their son Oliver, and we've saved 3 lives directly to their awareness.
And of the lives that you are saving, it must bring a great deal of kind of satisfaction that you are having a positive impact on those lives.
Yeah. Viewers can't see it.
So this is a tattoo on your arm.
Yes.
Of a LifeVac device.
Yeah, September 2022.
And that's marking
our 500th life.
The 500th life saved.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's a milestone. So very important to us.
If people want to find out more information, where can they get advice?
They can go to our website, which is lifevac.uk. It's got choking prevention tips in there, how to recognise choking, different types of choking, and they can see our partners and who we work with. And if they decide to purchase a LifeVac and they ever have to use it. We're regulated as a single-use medical device. It's fully recyclable, so if they have to use it in a choking incident, they'd rinse it out, pop it into the recycling or their clinical waste. If they report it back to us, we send out a free replacement LifeVac device and a free replacement mask. So essentially it's a one-time cost.
Matt Bannigan from LifeVac, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much.
The LifeVac Podcast, helping to save lives around the world.